The grand hall of Crescent Moon Pack shimmered with lanterns and silver drapes. Tonight was the mating ceremony, where the moon goddess revealed chosen pairs. Lyra Vale smoothed down the simple dress she wore, her palms damp with nerves. Her wolf Celine was restless. "He's close," Celine whispered. "Our mate is here." When Cain Blackthorn, heir to the Alpha throne, walked in, their bond flared like fire through her veins. Her knees weakened. It's him. But Cain's face hardened. His wolf stirred with recognition, yet his pride refused. "Before the entire pack?" he snarled. "You cannot be my Luna. I reject you, Lyra Vale." The crowd gasped. The bond snapped like a whip. Celine howled inside her, broken. Lyra's world shattered. She ran, tears burning as the sound of laughter and whispers followed her into the forest. Lyra fled to the woods, collapsing under the full moon's glow. Her wolf cried, torn by rejection, and the pain left her fevered and trembling. Cain found her. Not out of guilt at least. Not at first, but because his wolf, Fenrir, was restless, pacing inside him, refusing the rejection fully. For a moment, pride faltered. Cain knelt beside her, his voice strained. "You shouldn't be here, Lyra." But Lyra was burning with Bondak, her body craving the mate connection, even as her mind screamed no. In that vulnerable night, Cain yielded to instinct. Their wolves intertwined in desperation, an act not of love, but of raw, aching need. When morning came, Cain stood cold and distant, his walls back in place. "Forget this ever happened," he said harshly, and with that, he left her broken all over again. Lyra's hand moved to her stomach in the weeks after. The moon goddess had left her with a piece of that night a child. Unable to face Cain or the pack, Lyra vanished into the human town nearby. She worked odd jobs, kept to herself, and carried her pregnancy in silence. Her wolf comforted her. "This pup is ours, Lyra, a gift, not a curse." She named the baby girl Aurelia, meaning child of the dawn, with dark hair and golden eyes. Aurelia was proof of Cain's bloodline, but Lyra vowed to protect her from ever knowing rejection. For 4 years, Lyra raised Aurelia quietly, training her to be strong, to never bow her head as Lyra once had. An alliance treaty pulled Lyra back to the pack. The Alpha summoned all members, including those who had strayed, to witness Cain's political marriage to Seraphine Duskbane. When Cain saw Lyra again, his breath caught. She was no longer the timid girl. Her presence was commanding, her eyes sharp, and beside her walked a small child with his golden eyes. Fenrir roared inside Cain. "Ours. She's ours." Cain's world tilted. The woman he rejected had returned with his daughter. Cain's steps thundered across the stone courtyard. As he cut off Lyra's path, his amber eyes locked on the child at her side, so small yet carrying the undeniable mark of his bloodline. "Why didn't you tell me?" His voice cracked. More animal than man. Lyra didn't flinch. Her daughter clung to her hand, staring up at the stranger who radiated both fury and something unspoken. Lyra's reply was steel wrapped in ice. "Because you rejected me, Cain. You rejected us both before she was even born." Cain staggered as though struck. Fenrir, his wolf, howled inside him, tearing at the cage of his pride. "Ours. She's ours." But Lyra turned, her chin high, and walked away, leaving him drowning in the weight of his own mistake. The pack murmured. The rejected mate returned, and with a child, could it be the Alphas? Cain heard every whisper and bore them like knives. He wanted to shout the truth, to claim Aurelia before the world, but Lyra's rejection bound his tongue. She would not even look at him. That night, he stood outside her cottage, fists clenched, but did not knock. For the first time, as future Alpha, he feared no enemy more than he feared her silence. Elias Gray arrived with the envoy from the neighboring Ironfang pack, a tall warrior with stormy eyes. He carried himself with calm strength. Aurelia warmed to him instantly, her laughter ringing in the halls whenever he was near. Cain's chest burned with jealousy. Elias bowed politely to Lyra, his respect genuine, his interest undeniable. Fenrir snarled in Cain's head. "He wants what is ours." Cain's claws dug into his palms as he forced composure. He had no right to stake a claim, not after all he'd done. Seraphine Duskbane watched everything. Her smile was sweet as honey, but her eyes followed Cain with growing suspicion. In private, she pressed close to him. "You're distracted, Cain. That woman, she's nothing. Remember your duty." Cain pulled away, his voice hard. "Do not speak of her." Syrah's smile froze. Beneath her painted calm, a seed of hatred began to grow. Aurelia ran through the training grounds, wooden sword in hand. Cain watched from afar, his heart aching with every laugh, every spark of life she carried. She had his eyes, his wolf's spirit, his blood. He longed to kneel before her, to say the words, "I am your father," but Lyra's gaze stopped him. Later that night, Aurelia asked softly, "Mama, who is he? The man who always looks at me." Lyra's throat tightened. "He's no one you need to worry about, sweetheart," but her wolf whispered otherwise. "He is her father. She must know." Someday, the council chamber smelled of pine wood and old incense, but the air was poisoned by suspicion. Elders sat in their semicircle, their robes brushing the floor as they leaned forward, eyes glittering with judgment. Elder Merrick's voice cut first. "The child, her lineage is questionable. Without a Luna, how do we know she carries true alpha blood?" Lyra stiffened, holding Aurelia's small hand tighter. The little girl looked up at her mother, wide-eyed but silent, sensing the hostility. Elder Bryn sneered, his wolf flickering in his gaze. Even if the child is his, Lyra Vale was rejected. Rejected mates cannot rise as Luna. The law is clear. Cain slammed his palms against the oak table, the sound echoing like thunder. His wolf's power rippled through the room, forcing lesser wolves to bow their heads. Do not speak of her that way. His voice was low, dangerous. Every word laced with alpha command. Lyra is my mate, whether you honor it or not. And Aurelia is my daughter. I see my own wolf in her eyes. Deny it again, and you deny me. The council fell silent, tension heavy in the chamber. Lyra's heart twisted. She hadn't asked for his defense. Hadn't he wanted his power shielding her, but hearing him say the words she'd longed for once made cracks form in the wall she'd built around her heart. Still, she met his gaze with ice. Words are easy, Cain, prove them. Cain lowered his head not in defeat, but in a vow only she could hear. I will. Syrah's pride cracked. She sought allies in the shadows, whispering promises of power to rival packs. Help me bring her down, she hissed, and Crescent Moon will fall into your hands. Her smile returned in public, but it was sharper now, like the edge of a dagger hidden in silk. Lyra trained with the warriors, her blade flashing, her wolf roaring with each strike. Cain watched, torn between pride and shame. After training, he approached. You've grown stronger. Lyra wiped her blade. Eyes cold. I had to. I had no alpha to protect me. Her words cut deeper than any sword. One night, Cain cornered her in the stables, his control unraveling. I wake every night hearing Fenrir call your name. I see Aurelia, and hate myself for the years I lost. Tell me how to fix this, Lyra. Tell me how to earn back what I threw away. Lyra's voice trembled, though her face stayed hard. You can't. Some wounds never heal. She walked away, leaving him to his torment. Elias offered Lyra kindness Cain never had. He helped train Aurelia, taught her games, listened to Lyra without judgment. Cain's jealousy grew until it was a living fire. But Elias only smiled. If you won't cherish her, Blackthorn, I will. Aurelia confronted Cain at last. Why do you always look at me that way? Like you're sad but happy too. Cain knelt, his voice shaking. Because you're my daughter, and I am the fool who almost lost you. Her small arms wrapped around him, and for the first time, Cain wept. Proof of Syrah's treachery surfaced. Letters to rival alphas promising Cain's downfall. Lyra exposed her before the council. Cain banished Syrah with fire in his eyes. Yet whispers of war had already begun. Rogues stormed Crescent Moon territory. Lyra fought at Cain's side. Aurelia hidden with the elders. Their bond flared, wolves moving as one despite rejection. When the dust cleared, Cain turned to her, voice raw. This is what we were meant to be, Lyra, side by side. But she pulled away, refusing to surrender. The elders demanded Cain choose. Honor the alliance marriage, or risk the pack's stability. Cain defied them. I will not bind myself to a lie. The moon goddess chose my mate, and I was the fool who rejected her. I will not make that mistake again. The pack erupted in debate, but Cain stood unyielding. During training, Aurelia shifted for the first time. Her wolf gleamed silver, a rare mark of divine favor. The pack gasped. The child of Cain and Lyra was not just legitimate, she was blessed. Lyra's walls cracked. She admitted to herself that her love for Cain had never died, but fear chained her heart. She told Elias softly, even when I hate him, I love him. Elias bowed his head. Then fight for him, Lyra, or let him fight for you. The night smelled of blood before the battle even began. Howls split the forest as the rival pack surged through Crescent Moon's borders. At their head rode Seraphine Duskbane, her gown replaced by armor, her smile twisted with hatred. You should have chosen me, Cain, she called across the battlefield. Now you'll lose everything. Cain's wolf roared, but Lyra's hand on his arm steadied him. Aurelia clung to Lyra's side, her eyes glowing faint silver, her wolf stirring for the first time. The pack braced for war. Claws met claws. Fangs tore into flesh. The night became a blur of screams and snarls. Cain shifted. Fenrir's massive black wolf tearing through enemies like shadows made flesh. Lyra shifted to Selene, gleaming white under the moonlight, her speed unmatched. Together, they moved like twin flames, once broken, now fighting as one. But the rival Alpha was strong, his wolf massive, his warriors endless. Slowly, Crescent Moon faltered. Aurelia, hidden among the elders, felt the surge in her blood. Her body shook, her wolf forcing its way through. With a cry, she shifted her small form, glowing silver, light cutting through the night. The sight froze both sides. The child was blessed, divine. Chaos exploded as Seraphine lunged for Aurelia, blade raised. Cain threw himself in front of her. The steel sank into his side, tearing deep, blood pouring like fire. Fenrir's howl shook the trees as Cain staggered, falling to his knees. Papa Aurelia screamed, shifting back to her small human form, her tiny hands reaching for him. Lyra caught him, cradling his head against her chest. His blood soaked her hands, his skin cold. Don't you dare leave me, Cain Blackthorn, she cried. Tears streaked her face as her wolf keened. I hated you for what you did to me, but the truth is, I never stopped loving you. The moon goddess heard. In that desperate moment, Lyra's love reignited the bond that had once been severed. Her wolf poured power into Cain, stitching his wounds, knitting soul to soul. Cain gasped, his eyes blazing gold as Fenrir surged back, stronger than ever. He rose to his feet, standing taller than before, the bond burning between them like wildfire. He turned to Seraphine, his voice a growl that shook the battlefield. You thought you could break us, but you only made us stronger. With Lyra and Aurelia at his side, Cain charged, his claws sinking into the rival Alpha, tearing him down with a fury born of love reclaimed. The battlefield fell silent. The rival pack lay broken, their Alpha slain, their traitorous ally dragged to her knees. Seraphine's defiance faded to fear as Cain's power pressed down on her. You betrayed my pack, he said coldly. You threatened my mate, my child. For that, there is no forgiveness. He banished her in front of all, stripped of name and honor. As dawn broke, Lyra, Cain, and Aurelia stood together, their wolves howling to the rising sun. The pack knelt before them, not to duty, not to politics, but to the bond they had fought for, lost, and won again. Lyra met Cain's gaze, her hand slipping into his. For the first time in years, she didn't pull away. The moon had tested them, and they had endured.